So today I'm reviewing Scream 7. This time we see the return of Neve Campbell as Sydney, and it was directed by Kevin Williamson, and it had a torturous history and production and blah blah blah. I absolutely love this series so freaking much. I need you to understand that before I do my review. This is the hoodie I wore when I saw the film today, and I also saw it a second time earlier tonight so I could have full thoughts on the picture. Sidney Prescott is probably the best final girl ever in the history of slasher films, in my opinion. She's only matched to me by maybe Nancy from A Nightmare on Elm Street. No disrespect to people like Laurie Strode or Jess from Black Christmas or Sally from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but Sidney has been the queen of the final girl since around 2000 for me. For me, the correct order from best to least good, all of them are good in my opinion, goes 1, 4, 6, 5, 3, and 2. Scream 4 needs more love. Anyway, so where does 7 fit in the listing for me? To start with, Neve Campbell is just as amazing as she has always been. The badass who is just built for all this stuff and wears the final girl label like armor that no one can pierce. I will never be upset seeing her in a film, even a bad one. The crux of her dilemma this time has to do mostly with a ghost face forcing her to face her past while protecting her teenage daughter, named Tatum. They have a contentious relationship as Sydney doesn't want to talk about her past because, quite frankly, it has been covered to death in the media as well as a book she wrote during the time of Scream 4 and, of course, the Stab movies. But this makes her daughter apprehensive toward her because she feels she doesn't really know her mom very well. I actually like Tatum as a character. She was raised by a protective mother who has survived 5 of these attacks, so naturally Sydney wants to take care of her daughter and make sure nothing bad happens to her. But because of that, she has become vulnerable to an attack like the one in this story because she has been so sheltered by her mom. It's a rather nice dynamic between mother and daughter. It is a little lackluster in the first half, but the second half really kicks the relationship into gear and gives a good amount of pathos which allows both characters to self-actualize about each other by the time we get to the final sequences of the film. I also need to compliment the kills. Almost all of them are first rate. They are inventive, bloody, and fun. There is one artistic death that is done in a theater that was kind of preposterous with how it is set up, but the gore is fun and gnarly. The best kill in the film for me happens in a bar. I won't spoil anything, so I'll just say that this Ghostface is very creative with their kills and really wants to have a majestic presentation with the victims. And now here comes the part of the video that I have been dreading. And everyone else surrounding Sydney, her daughter, and the kills. They are completely wrong for a Scream movie. So this film begins with a couple taking a tour of Stumacher's house. Naturally, because this is a Scream movie, it is a pre-title sequence and is a drawn-out part that is meant to set the mood of the film, and has been the case in every film in the series beforehand. Unfortunately, this is hands down the weakest pre-title sequence in the entire series. There are a few false jump scares that are just annoying, and the attack that happens is choreographed like 10 trillion miles away. Now, don't get me wrong, I love one of the kills in this opening segment, as it sets the mood for how creative this killer is going to be this time out. But it doesn't have the fun nature of the double fake-out opening to Scream 4, nor the story significance of the openings of Scream 1 and 5. It's basically just inserted there because every other one has it, so the filmmakers must have said, let's just get it in there and move on with the rest of the movie. The town this film takes place in might as well be Woodsboro. It has the same similar small town vibe to it, and has a main street that is very much like Woodsboro. It seems like this town we are in is just the setting for the original and everything but name. They even have a part where they play Red Right Hand from the first film, while the town is shutting down for a curfew. This picture is really trying to play on our nostalgia, and that would be fine if it mixed in contemporary stuff as well. And it attempts to, but not in a way that I thought was fully successful. Scream 7 isn't very funny, and that is a huge mistake in my opinion. One of the things that made the series so successful was this mixture of meta self-awareness and good old slasher stuff. And this doesn't have that much self-awareness. It takes itself really seriously, and I think that is a big oversight to the formula of success this series has been known for. I don't need it to be hilarious or too meta for its own good, which Scream 5 almost did, but some lightheartedness is needed to remind people that this is supposed to be fun. This is the series that was a gateway into the horror genre for many people after all. Then there's all the characters besides mother and daughter. All of them suck, and that would be okay in any other slasher movie, but not in a freaking Scream movie. All of the friends of the daughter have barely any discernible identity to them or quirks that make them memorable. I think this has to do with the fact that the film is trying to give us so much room for the legacy characters while introducing suspects and fodder at the same time. Scream 4 pulled this off successfully because of people like Kirby, Charlie, and Jill, who had larger-than-life personalities to them, Kirby most of all. They fit perfectly with the legacy cast. In Scream 7, the new cast doesn't fit in at all and feel oddly out of place with everything else that is going on in the film. And none of them had the charisma to be memorable characters. Even the twins in Scream 5 and 6 were extremely likable with as little screen time as they were given at times. All the friends here are just so dang forgettable, man. Speaking of forgettable, the husband of Sydney is poorly drawn out as well. He's a police officer, but he doesn't add any dynamic to the family. At first, he seems to be supportive of his daughter's frustrations with her mom, but then he is just kind of brushed to the side while we focus on the 85 other characters in this film. So, what I'm saying is, no one in this picture is given time to breathe and have personality except the mother and daughter. Courtney Cox is in this film, and she quite literally teleports into the story, has a few scenes with Neve Campbell, and then just disappears in the final act for reasons that I do not understand. It's like the film forgot about her for the last half hour, and only brought her back to cater to the fan service side of it. The Gale Weathers we all know would be in the business of everything that's happening with this killer. She even states that intention when she shows up, but then just disappears like she was sloppily written into the script. They talk about how the events of Scream 6 really messed her up. They hint at some issues she is dealing with physically and maybe even emotionally, but it is never followed up on and has no closure. I am completely puzzled why Courtney Cox is even in this movie. Now, the biggest thing that hurts this film for me is the killer reveal. I won't get into it so I can keep this video spoiler free. I will say that the unmasking is the absolute worst in the entire series, even worse than Scream 3. They play with the idea of returning people and things not being what they seem, but the identity and justification of why everything is happening falls completely on its face. And so I was just waiting for Neve Campbell to do what she always does, and that was the only enjoyment I got out of the last act of the film, was watching Neve Campbell do what Neve Campbell does. So this movie is a severe mixed bag for me. It is a pretty good slasher movie with amazing kills, a few fun chase sequences, and a good relationship between mother and daughter. But to be honest, I think this film is poorly directed. Some of the chase scenes are edited in a weird way and cut so quickly that you just can't keep pace with it, and it doesn't feel like it was filmed organically to the plot. Unfortunately, it does feel like a project that was whipped together too fast. As I said, it is a pretty good slasher film, but it is a weak Scream film. I would say this is one of the weakest entries in the series overall. I don't hate this picture, to be clear. I've seen it twice and am taking some people to see it this weekend. So it isn't a total disaster like some people are claiming that it is. But it is disappointing if you compare it to the top echelon of Scream films. So do I recommend this movie? I mean, sort of, I guess. If you love the series and like fun and gnarly kills, then you will probably get enjoyment out of it. But if you're looking for a good Scream movie that honors its past while moving forward into the future like Scream 5 did, then you are probably going to be disappointed. I would put this as better than Scream 2 and about on par with Scream 3. So how about I say check it out for a matinee or when it comes to streaming? It's a fun slasher movie. It's just a messy Scream movie. I give Scream 7 an affectionate and high 2.5 stars out of 4. I can't rate it any higher because while I do like this film, I can't ignore all the flaws it has and the fact that it felt just so stitched together. I hope if they make an eighth one, they take their time and think everything out the way Radio Silence did. And that is my review. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Here's links to my other videos. Follow me on social media if you like. And until next time, I am Ghost.